We're on YouTube right now. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Kyverno contributors meeting. Today is May 27th. I'm Shooting Zhao, by the way. I'm the maintainer of the Kyverno project. Today, I'll be giving an HA update of the implementation. And then if you have any topic want to discuss in this meeting, please feel free to add to the agenda. And before we started, please add yourself to the attendees. Okay. So as we discussed in the previous contributors meeting, we started HA implementation for the high availability support. The logic we proposed before was that we want to enable the leader election in each individual controller of Kyverno. So while we implement that approach, we found one issue with that is since we use the informers in most of the Kyverno controllers to add the event handler as well as to load the cache for the target resources, it is not guaranteed that when the leader is elected, the cache is loaded. The objects are loaded in the cache. So that brings us a problem during the first reconciliation of each controller. The leader could lose that that resource events. So take the policy controller as an example. So during the Kyverno start, we will load all the existing resources as well as the policies, and then apply those policies to the resource. But with the approach we came up with before, the problem is that the leader could lose the events for those policies that are added to the cache. So the policy report will only be recovered after in the next reconciliation of its controller. So that is roughly 1 hour later. So this is apparently not the expected behavior. So we kind of changed. We also looked at other projects out there using the leader election as well as how Kubernetes control plan implements this leader election. We found that the best approach is to just enable the leader election per instance, or to say per pod, so that at a time you will be guaranteed there is only one leader running all the time, and all the controllers in this instance will do its job. So that's kind of the approach right now we are implementing. And there is a PR already created. It's work in progress, but we've done the basic text for that for the webhook components as well as the policy controller. We found it's pretty reliable on that. So we're still working on the change of the generic controller, but we should be able to release the alpha version pretty soon. So with that, Jim, do you have anything to add or?
No, nothing major to add. I think, it may be good. And I'd see, we have some new folks on the call too, including, I think, Bukola, who's going to be our, the mentor for the summer. So welcome. And
thank you.
Yeah, great to have you. And, so I think one thing we talked about shooting is as we're doing this, we should maybe go and update the Wiki and, capture some of the design and things like that, which would be helpful for everybody understanding how the different components like the webhook, the webhook monitor and configuration, and then the generate controller, the policy reporter, all of those work. And we can even put some thoughts and ideas for the future and get some feedback.
Right. So currently all the design approaches and the test plan are captured in this HA doc. I attached the link in the meeting doc. So after the implementation, once everything is finalized, we will move it to the Wiki page so that the other users or the contributors can refer to that as well.
Okay. Do we have a quick demo we can see and how this would work?
Yeah, we do. Let me pull up my terminal. Okay, so I think I already have Kyverno pods running there. Let me check. Okay, just to like start fresh, let me scale down all the deployment. Just avoid using the short names. Okay, let's wait till the pods are terminated. So the demo I'll be giving today is just for the webhook changes as well as the policy controller. So like the issue is the single replica before and for the webhook component is that we will renew the secret during the Kyverno start. So that means if you have multiple instances running, then each instance will renew that certificate, which is used to register the webhook as well as to start the webhook server. So that means the previous instance with the invalid certificate will no longer serve the admission request. That's the problem with previously with the single replica. We have fixed it in the NDSH implementation, and let's check again. Okay, so now there is no Kyverno pod running. I only have one Kyverno deployment with 0 replica. And now let's scale up Kyverno to 3 instances. Let's put a watch on the pod. So all pods are in initializing state. We will wait till it's running. Let me start the log locally. Okay, I believe we have all the pods running. And just to check some of the Kyverno resources, we have the Kyverno secret, get secret section Kyverno. So the last 2 secret are the secret we store the certificate. And if you get the mutating webhook as well as the validating webhook configurations, you see those are 5 admission webhooks created by Kyverno. And yeah, and then let's see, let me check if I have any workloads running. Okay, I only have 1 ghost pod running here. And with all the best practice policies deployed in my cluster, let's first check if the Kyverno generates the policy report successfully. So let's do kubectl get policy report. So you'll see there is 1 policy report generated for the workflow. And if you describe policy report, grab the status, you'll see all the reports are, all the results are generated for that ghost pod. Okay, and then let's test the webhook part. By testing that, let's create a few workflow around that. Let me check the pod name. Okay, so let's first run an nginx pod with run nginx -- image. Oops. So now the creation of this pod passed, and then let's check the policy report again to see, okay, so now you see the new entries are added to the policy report. If you describe the policy report again, I believe there must be some of the results reported on this nginx pod. And to like test the webhook part more straightforward, let's first edit the one of the validated policy to the enforce mode. Let's say I want to enforce the user not to use the latest tag. Then what I'm going to do is to edit this SIPO. By the way, SIPO is the cluster policy. Let's edit the failure action to enforce. So the failure action defines the behavior of the validate policy. If you set it to enforce, when you create the resource that violates the policy, Kyverno would block the resource creation for you. And then let's get the pod again. Okay, let me run another pod. Let's say pod, let's see, test dash image nginx with the latest tag. So what I expected is that this pod creation will be denied by Kyverno. Okay, that's what we want. So I guess that's the simple demo for the webhook and the policy report. And of course, there are more complex use cases if you have large scale of the cluster. So we'll come up with the full test plan and make sure those test cases are also covered. Is there any questions or any other like experiment you want me to do or you want me to show you? Oh, by the way, let's test the scale down process. So during the Kyverno shutdown process, which is to like scale down Kyverno to 0 replica, we will make sure that all the resources generated by Kyverno will be are cleaned up, like the secret I showed you before, as well as the webhook configurations. So let's first not shut down the Kyverno, but just to delete the Kyverno pod. It's like looks like a rolling update. So in that process, let's do kokoto delete pod dash Kyverno. I'm going to delete all pods here. And then from one of the Kyverno log, let me pull up that log. So this is in one of the, this is a log of the Kyverno pod. So you can see here, it detects that Kyverno is in update status, so it won't clean up those Kyverno generated resources. But let's first check if the pod are deleted. Okay, one is still terminating, but if you, this is like the rolling update. During the rolling update, the webhook configurations are not deleted so that it is guaranteed there won't be any admission request is missed. This is the behavior of the rolling update. And if we scale down the Kyverno to 0 replica, and if you wait till the Kyverno pods shut down, and if you check the webhook again, you can see all the webhooks are cleaned up, and as well as for the secrets. So the secrets that are generated by Kyverno are also cleaned up. Okay, that's the demo I have today. Do you have any questions or topics want to discuss around this issue?
I think there was a question in chat, shooting.
There's a question. Okay, how to see the logs? Good question. So I'm pretty lazy, so I write some of some log script to grab the log for all pods. Let's check. Okay. So because we're running multiple instances of Kyverno pod, I don't want to look for the pod name and then do kubectl logs pod. So I just write the script, and if you want to check the specific log of the pod, you can just put the log, the pod number there. For example, if you want to check the first pod of the Kyverno, you can do log 0, and then, oh, we don't have any pod running there yet, but it'll give you the pod. But with the kubectl, you can always get the log, like, let me check if I have any pod running here. So you can do kubectl log station default, and then with the pod name, if you want to keep it like flooding, you can put a -f there. It'll show you the logs of the given pod. Okay, any other questions? All right, I guess that's a no. And that's all the updates I have for today. Jim, do you have anything else to discuss?
No, so what's the timeline we're planning to complete testing and do 1.4? And is there anything else for 1.4 besides the HA that we want to include?
I think in the milestone, all the issues are around the HA support. I believe there are 2 or 3 other issues in this milestone, but the focus is on the HA. Let's check the milestone. Okay, so part of HA issues, we have this JavaScript support. Do we have any plan including that in 1.4.0?
No, I don't think that was something we're going to do in 1.4.
Okay. Audit inflows based on namespace, I guess that's another enhancement we want to do in the future. Debug mode, which shows the entire admission payload. I guess that's pretty straightforward. We just need to like print out the admission review data and the level log. I guess that's one of the user wants to see all the data in the admission review so that they can write their own JMeS path variable. So let's keep that and drop Kubernetes 1.14. That is straightforward, but it's not required, I guess.
Yeah, I think let's keep it for now because it'd be good to, if we can clean up.
Okay. So it's marked as good first issue, I guess. If anybody is interested in that, please feel free to pick that up. I'll move the rest to 1.4.1.
All right. Also, the for each one we can move to 1.4.1, right?
Yep.
Okay. What about on the Prometheus metrics? Are those all in? Because that was one of the other things we wanted for 1.4, right?
Right. Let me find that. I already merged the changes to the main branch. So it's available right now, but we're still working on the doc as well as update the website. So one thing we left is to remove the status updates about in the policy itself. Yash is working on that. So after that, I think we are ready with the Prometheus.
Okay, so the metrics will already be available, but we just have to remove all the status update logic.
Right.
Okay.
All right, and I guess for the generate, we probably need one more day to fix the issue in the generate controller. And we can take like 2 or 3 days for testing. And then I think sometime next week, we should be able to release the alpha version of the HA support. What do you think?
Yeah, I think that sounds good. Let's get the Pooja Venkatesh, any questions or anything on the generate right now? Or I know there's some one of the items to resolve, but
No, we should be able to resolve it in a day. So yes, I'm working on the changes. There are like three conditions, three different conditions where we need to call the generate controller. So I have already fixed the 2 cases. Still one case is pending. We should be able to fix it in a day.
okay. Sounds good. Yeah, let's double down on that. And then once we have, I think, the ability to maybe build, maybe we can publish, version from the branch. And even if folks want to help test, I think that will be good. So let's get some testing done and we can plan the release then.
Sure.
Sounds good.
All right. No, this is exciting. Good progress.
Yeah, finally we have Kyverno HA and it's almost production ready. All right, thank you everyone. I'll see you in the next
Hello.
contributors
Hello,
meeting.
Oh, I think there's a question.
Is there?
hello, ma'am. Ma'am, this is Vivek Kumar Sahu. Ma'am, I am a new contributor to this committee. Ma'am, I don't understand how to start contribution. Ma'am, basically, should I go first on to go through one's whole project, then contribute, or is there any other way? Hello, ma'am, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Ma'am, I am new to this community, and I am new to open source community. So, ma'am, I am just trying to contribute, but unable to contribute. So, I'm just asking how to start with.
Yes, so have you taken a look at some of these good first issues? Shooting, if you want to pull up that list, and I think we have a couple in 1.4. So the easiest way is to maybe just try out a very simple change like this. If you pick up on one of these good first issues,
Okay, sir.
and when you are interested in working on something, so we cannot assign a issue directly to anybody, but if you write a comment or if you just put /assign and your GitHub, and put like @ and your GitHub ID, then we can assign that to you. And you can then, kind of take that issue and work on it. If you do want to pick up on an issue which is scheduled for a release, just be mindful of the release timelines and things like that. And I think maybe Shooting, if you want to quickly show the wiki. So we have some getting started information on the project on the wiki, and this is what we were talking about. We'll update with the HA design and things like that. So feel free to go through this and try, locally building, locally doing anything. If you need any assistance, you can also use GitHub Discussions. So that's more for maintainers and contributors. Yeah, so in GitHub Discussions, you can kind of, on Slack, we typically want to, talk about user issues, but here you can kind of, ask anything about how to build a project, how it works, any of the design internals. Feel free to post the topic here.
Okay, sir.
Does that help, or any other questions? Or
No, sir.
all right, any other topics from anyone else?
Yeah, I was going to ask, does it apply to me as well as a mentee? Should I just dive in and start looking at good first issues?
Absolutely.
I mean, I know it doesn't start formally till next month,
Right.
but it will be good to just like have a play around and see.
Of course. That's what I would recommend. If you
Okay.
have the time and ability, just dive in, right, and pick up on
Cool.
some issue like making a log change or something like that, and just reach out. Try to, of course, get set up with your local development environment.
Yeah.
And then, also like running, depending on whether you're using Minikube or, Docker desktop and things like that, there's different nuances in running Kyverno locally. So try all of that out. And then just going through one small issue and getting it fixed end to end that's probably the best way to learn.
Sure. Cool. Thank you.
Sure, you're welcome.
Okay, if you have any questions about the local dev setup, you can obviously first reference to the Wiki page for the dev environment setup, but you can also reach out to me. I can help you build your local test environment.
Thank you.
Sure.
And I think on the mentorship project, Shooting, you'll probably set up some meetings separately for that, right? To kick off the scope. So that, I think, it starts probably next week or so, right?
Yeah, it said it starts on June 1st, but
okay,
we can start it next week, next Monday.
Sounds good.
All right. Thank you, everyone.
Take care.